So she starts stressing and sweating.
But he meets with a lot. He meets with a lot of people. Vince is out there like paving. He's setting up meetings when he's on the road and finding out who the connectors are and who he needs to meet with. And
Yeah.
he's going and he's doing
And Tim,
that. It's
and
not
Tim,
like,
sometimes your social events, Tim, you go to Hamptons, you go surfing. People generally surf in the Hamptons. They have some money, right? Or you go to cigar lounges, good cigar lounges. You're part of whiskey clubs and things like that. I don't really drink, so I have a sip of the stuff. It tastes horrible, but you got people for a couple hours, right? So that's what we do, Tim.
I
he has
see.
his little tricks.
Very cool. And Kyra, share with us a bit about the type of investors that you go with. Do you have a specific avatar that you target, or walk us through the investors that you wanting to attract?
Yeah, so small business owners, because I can connect with them on a personal level. Physicians, my husband's a physician, so we have a good relationship with some doctors that are invested in a lot of our deals.
Mm.
Also, through LinkedIn, being in the Alliance, y'all have taught me how to really maximize LinkedIn. So reaching out to surgeons and orthodontists and engineers, just high net worth individuals, and really just trying to grow my network through LinkedIn mainly. That's what's been my focus this past year.
Gotcha. Okay. And then do you guys do a lot of educational type of webinars or ebooks or anything like that to nurture the relationship before you approach them with deals?
We have, Tim. I think we made some adjustments. I think we did too much deal, less about us, less jokes, right? Less relaxing, smoothing out. So we've done a couple of meetups at coffee shops, right? We have a meetup coming up in the Galleria on the 12th, right, Kyra? So it's a little intimate gathering. Maybe we'll have 50 people, but those are where I think those are big plus. Yeah, your ebook is a big plus, Tim. That's on the. I have yours in my office, right? So it's next to me. So yeah, it's good to have. But I think that's a way that we're moving forward. A lot more intimate, and we've had a couple of webinars, education people, because a confused mind says no, Tim. So what you said earlier, opening line, is that why are we risky? People think land's risky. People think we're buying
Right.
with so land in the Everglades, right? That's below sea level and there's nothing in there but alligators and snakes. I don't, sometimes we don't get that, but I think we have to convey it to and educate people why it's not risky.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since not only you do development, but you guys do so many different types of deals, different types of developments, and versus a lot of other syndicators, they're more niche. So let's say they're like, we only do multifamily or we only do self-storage.
Right.
Then there's less education that they need to do, is because it's
True.
every investment is the exact same thing, just rinse and repeat. And
Yeah, the investors are different. Tim, you can't ram down a multifamily syndicator, or that's what they want to be, into a lot development deal. They're not used to it. So they might have sold it on a depreciation value, right? We don't have that. We just sell it, close it out in 3 years, and people get an excellent rate of return. But we don't have the option of a cash flow. So we're not cash flow. So we're not for those particular assets and are not for us. That client, we will lose that client. You know what I'm saying? So that's why sometimes being in your group, that we would throw deals once in a while that are in there that we don't fund, but we know it's a great deal, but it's not our bucket. Like, we want to be great at what we are, and we stay in our bucket of what we're great at. So why go into something we might not be as good at?
right. Yeah. And oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. All right, forget it. I'll ask a new question. What like with the different types of deals that you do, and like you said, someone with a new development versus value add, there are different types of audience. Do you find that a lot of your investors are more sophisticated, where there's less education that's needed to, especially, so for, I'll give you an example. On the multifamily side, we do attract a lot of brand new investors who've never invested before. And it's easy for them to understand multifamily because most likely they've lived in one before. They know others that live in one, right? In the new development side, do you find that a lot of your investors are more sophisticated investors?
Yeah, we think we have a mix of the business owner, the big IT guy, guys who own software. A lot of company guys like that invest with us. We also like we're a mix of everything because we're a hybrid, because we operate like in low risk but high returns kind of world. But we attract like Kyra has attracted some newbie investors that are first time ever investors. They took more work because you had to educate them more. So it took more meetings, right? That's
Right.
true. But we need the small investors as much as we need the big investor. Because see, what I mean by hybrid is the first part of our deals a lot of times is the small friends and family part at the beginning of it. And then it'll grow into the bigger side. But so we always need the base of the $50,000 investor, the $100,000 investor. They're all accredited investors. So we don't have any raises or anything like that. So I think it's a little, that's where we are a little unique. And as far as the other part of that I told you, that I forgot to tell you, so when we mitigate risk is the builders assign us big tracks, Tim. So D.R. Horton will assign us like 3 tracks, and do we want them? And then we'll probably pick one of them. We'll probably pick one out of every 3. They don't always work. So you just want to make sure you pick the best you can, right? They're the big boys. They don't care about the little guys. So you just got to survive in that. But getting back to your field, we don't ever want to exclude any investor. We need as many as we can. And we want to do a better job of figuring out how we pay syndicators properly. So when it's a regular GPLP structure, we can move that easily, right? We can mess around a little bit on the GP, say all consultant fees or whatever it is if it's an accountant. So we want to be able to, we can pay the syndicator or the capital raiser more than anybody else can because it's our deal. So it's not a big corporate company that they have regulations that or restrict what they would normally pay. We're creative on our end. Nothing that's out of the SEC world that's not illegal, but something that we're more flexible on.
Gotcha. Okay. And then with your developments, have you found, and I know, have you found your returns for your LPs tend to be a lot higher than the typical syndication, typical value add multifamily type syndications?
Much higher, Tim, but we have a funny joke that we have internally. You'll see our returns show 21, 22, or 23 per year. They'll always that number, right? Sometimes when we do our numbers and we hand it off to our financial analyst and he says, it's in the 30s, like 34, we can't show that kind of stuff. So because we really mean this, we like to under promise and over deliver. And
That's
if you
good.
go on and you guys too, as you analyze deals in your team, 21, your returns at 18% mostly. You're 17 to 19%
Right.
mostly, right?
Yep.
So our deals are 21 to 20, somewhere in that range. Anything above that, Tim, it attracts like crazy eyes. So when you have a successful doctor, let's say, and he hands it off to his CPA or his lawyer, they see returns that are north of 25, they start getting real skeptical. They're like, who are these people? How could they possibly do that consistently, right? So you want to avoid all of that. And ours, the difference from your syndications that you're involved in a lot, Tim, is that we have to base our investments on time value. Because when you deal with new construction, if you have delays that can affect your time, it's all about how long the capital's out, right? So in our world, that's where we base the time frame on our capital. So it's not on the whole, not a $10 million of profit, but it's more on how long it takes to get to the 10 million. So we have to have that spread, and a lot of our spreads in the time. That's what can kind of slow us down, whether it's in Florida or it's in Texas or South Carolina or any of the Carolinas. That's really what we have to be conscious of.
Gotcha. And what's the time frame, a length of deal before you guys go full cycle? Typically,
usually our deals are the lowest deal time frame is usually about 2 years. So 2 to 5 years is the majority of the windows. However, when you have subdivisions of 1,500 homes, 2,000 homes, those deals go 7, 8, 10 years,
I
right?
see.
But you don't keep those same investors in. You're able to pivot and take them out. And we have different subdivisions. They're not just like a lot subdivision. We might sell a piece to a multifamily guy that we don't develop it, buy the land at $1 a foot, sell it to them for $11 a foot, and let them build it, right? So we can bring capital in early, take out investors, or change the clock on the investor. Take out the first wave in the first 18 months, new groups in, and then they're on the clock again. You're able to do that in big subdivisions.